All right, thank you for staying with us and still talking about the aftermath of Mr. President's visit to Benue State and, matters arising. We have Dr. Chuksma, on phone speaking with us. And of course, we are being joined in the studio by Chief Abdul Fattah Abdul Salam Liberty. Chief Liberty is an activist, the Director General, Good Governance and Leadership Assessment Initiative, GOGLI. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good to have you here.
It's my pleasure, sir.
Thank you very much. And of course, you met us talking about insecurity, what has happened in Benue State. You're an activist, you're a comrade, you're a chief as well. So, and a lawyer, by the way. And it's good to have you. Now, the president spoke. The part B of the question my colleague Daniel asked is about some of the things that were said by the president, calling out some of the service chiefs at that meeting and asking them questions and giving marching others as well. We allow you to take a look, at that particular clip.
Police, I hope your men are on alert to listen to information. How come no arrest has been made? I expect there should be arrests of those criminals. Christopher, thank you very much. I watch your comments and I know you can't be tired of staying in the bush and Oloyede and Basha. Thank all of you. But we need to keep our ears to the ground. Let's get those criminals. Let's get them out.
Yeah, Chief Abdul Fattah, will come to you shortly. Dr. Maha, you heard Mr. President. What do you make of those questions, asking that particular question at that meeting, and then calling the IGP out? How come no arrest has been made? Do you see it as playing to the gallery? Or what do you make of the entire speech?
Well, the rhetorics of politics are so much. I'm not here to talk about politics or whatever it is. But now he's asked the IGP in the open about it. So it's now left for the IGP now to swing into action. Like I mentioned 2 days ago, his hands were tied. Now he's been given a marching order. He will now go in now to get it. Between himself and the Chief of Army Staff, and indeed the Defense Chief, I want to believe they will go fishing into the area and smoke all these bandits out. And they should leave no table unturned, irrespective of whose ox is being ground. The truth is that there are people behind it. There are no doubt about the sponsors. And we pray for the first time these security agents would do and should do the needful. This is what my prayers are. They should just do the needful. And once they do the needful, I think to bring complete rest to Nigeria. Like I said earlier, there are no spirits. There are hoodlums. They came into the country. They are even, I want to bring that, even within the domain of the states. So they can easily be gotten. They'll be gotten, fished out, their sponsor being revealed, and we go after them. Even if their sponsors are in Abuja, go after them.
All right.
I don't think there's anybody too big or bigger than the country called Nigeria.
All right, Dr. Maha, I asked you a question before we went on that break, a very decisive question. I understand the fact that you are trying to be careful. But again, we are journalists, I'm a journalist, and we speak to facts, and we also try to speak truth to power at all levels, no matter what the case might be. So here's the decisive question I asked, and I'm going to ask you again because I really want you to address it before I move over to Chief Abdul Fattah right here in the studio with us. You saw that speech that the president gave when he called out the IGP and he was asking him, how come no one has been arrested? The IGP was smiling. We are Nigerians. We are seeing that, okay? So we're taking a critical look at the whole scenario here. As journalists, we have to report all this. When Mr. President called out the IGP, he stood up. When the president was asking him such a serious question, over 200 people reportedly killed in Benue State, the IGP had a smirk. He had a smile on his face. So that's the question. And when he also called out the CDS, Christopher, I know you've been in the bush. So my question was very clear. It just looked as if the president was just, giving them a pat on the back. The question is, as an expert, Dr. Maha, was Mr. President decisive in his speech, in his address, calling out the security agencies?
I've said before, Mr. President is swarmed with information. There are two things, and I'll tell you, people react in different manners. If you ask me a question which you already know the answer, how do you expect me to react? That's question number one. Now, Mr. President is a very, very intelligent person. He's a very intelligent man, and there's little I know about him. And the truth of the matter, we need to be very careful. Why I use the word careful? Because you, I, and the other guests are not privy to the entirety of information at play. We know, but we are not certain, but we all know there are certain persons, powers at play here who are sponsors of this menace going on in the country. Let's don't deceive ourselves. We all know that one. Who these people are is a different thing entirely. I do not know who these people are. But we know there are people behind it. That is why we've not been able to get a total resolve to the issue of banditry, insurgency within the country. Some people are gaining from it, while majority are suffering from it. Now, the issue of the Inspector General of Police, he's just one human being. Whether you change him, you bring a new person, that cannot be resolved. Everything comes from the action given. And that's why I said, if your guys were there at the visits of Mr. President to Benue State, one of you guys should have asked Mr. President the question, and he spells out in black and white with a matching order. Yes, the IGP was called out. But what do you expect me to say? But we're going to start from today to need to score the sheets for the IGP and the Chief of Army Staff. From today on, to see how long it takes them to get to the suspects, to the perpetrators, and the sponsors. These three things. Unfortunately, Mr. President did not go to the scene of the crime. He went to the hospital, yes. But you see, if you don't go to the scene of the crime, you can't appreciate it that much. So these are the aspects of it. But thank God Mr. President was there in Benue State. And we want to see things begin to happen. It's now left to the governor. I want to repeat now. I don't know what you want me to say concerning the IGP, but it's left for the governor to follow it up now after the president's visit to see to it that all the security agencies come into play to bring the state back to normalcy. So let's hear from the other guest.
All right, Dr. Maha. Coming to you, Chief Abdul Fatai. Looking at the speech of the president before we move to other issues, what do you make of it? I mean, as an activist, how do you interpret the whole scenario? You saw the question I asked Dr. Maha. In your own opinion, looking at what has happened in Benue State and how it is being responded to by our security architecture in Nigeria and Mr. President, what do you make of the whole situation, including the speech of the third chief, the monarch who spoke at that meeting?
Yes, I think the reality is that we have certain classical problems unresolved. If you look at the visit of Mr. President to Benue State, you realize that Mr. President stood up to make that visit when he realized that the horror being perpetrated, the massacre being perpetrated against the local people in Benue State has become exposed to the world. Before today, horrible massacre have been taking place in those places. Very horrible massacre have been taking place in those places. You hardly see any serious commitment from the executive governor, the state government, and even the federal government. The one that just happened, you see, if not because of some extra steps by some persons and activists and media, Mr. President has no business in going to that place. But we're in a country where people are ultimately political and emotional in their decision. They are not realistic. They are not realistic in the sense that our leader, when they realize that politics demands something, That is when they stand up. And you see them doing the needful. Does the needful runs in their vein? Let them answer that question. When they realize that, no, this particular scenario is becoming dangerous to our political image, that is when they stand up, which is wrong. That very brief explanation describes the visit of Mr. President. You see, any leadership, anywhere, micro, major leadership that fails in security, such leaderships need to review its leadership. What I mean, the way Nigerian security structure, the way Nigerian security architecture is structured, make it easy for our security agents to act, if they really want to act. The truth of the matter is that as far as Benue massacre is concerned, our leader failed. And it's not only our leader that failed. Talk of all our security apparatus, most importantly, the police and the DSS. Because in that kind of attack, it is expected that it concerns them even before the Nigerian armed force. So our security architecture, importantly, the police and the DSS, they score 0. Because in Benue, you have a commissioner of police. In Benue, you have so many area commanders. In Benue, you have so many divisional police officers. In Benue, you have an AIG. And all these people, they are not what they are today. To march to their office, sit down, use unnecessary authority, enjoy serene. They are not there for that. They are there to perform a very simple assignment, to secure people. Now, you see, in fact, it is not of essence for Mr. President to visit that place now. It is not of essence.
How do you mean?
The meaning is, this is the reality.
Yeah.
You see, assuming our security apparatus are functional. They are not functional. Assuming they are functional. Even before the attack, the DSS I know will have achieved certain fundamental information about any attack. The DSS I know.
They are not functional or they are not efficient.
They are not.
These are two different things.
Thank you very much. Efficiency and functional. When something is functional and it is not efficiency, what happened to that functionality? When something is not efficient, you have a knife. The edge, the mouth of the knife is not sharp at all, and you want to cut. You will say it is not efficient. Is it working? Is it working? My brother, if today there is a political interest in any part of Nigeria that require deploying sophisticated police in large number, you will see them and you will be marveled. En masse. So, the DS, I said something. I said, ideally, with the kind of proper arrangement we have in our security architecture, Mr. President will not visit that place. Because even before the attack, the DSS would have been aware. The DSS, I know, in those days, as student union, when we plan protest secretly, before you know what is happening, the DSS is aware. They begin to call you up and down. Where is that intelligent gathering again?
They're talking about failure of intelligence.
Yes, I'm talking about failure of intelligence. You see, among the Nigerian police and the DSS, they are not gathering any tangible intelligence. What they do is to cry after the meat is already, splitted. How will you cry? Look at the number of people that were maimed, that were burnt in that particular village. Now, is it not reasonable at all for us to cry after such occurrence? And let me add this. Let me add this, sir. You know, we have a spiral arrangement of our security architectures, you know, that make it very easy to communicate across. I heard from a guy that visited that place for a very objective purpose that particular place, the police base, probably a police post, is not far from that particular arena. That tells you that what happened, as it happens immediately, there is every opportunity and advantage for the information to move up to the CP and to the AIG. And if that particular information moves up appropriately, the CP is aware. What is expected of the CP is to stand on his feet. To stand on his feet immediately.
All right, Chief. So many questions to ask. Actually, you are the activist there. We have a professional at the other end. But, you know, some of those questions that the president asked yesterday is the IG. The man stood up there, if you can, you know, have it on our screen again, and he was asking the question, how come no arrest has been made? You know, some will interpret it to be two things. Number one, is that the right place to be asking that question from the IG? Because you have him to yourself, you can always ask that question, or you are trying, or the president is trying to look, I mean, to the people, or show himself to the people like somebody who cares and who is surprised that no question are being asked. That's number one. Please hold that. Number two is the thoughtive, the king, who started his speech, you know, at that event by saying wrong diagnosis of issues we always look, I mean, we always lead to wrong, you know, solutions that will not work. And that's how he said, this is not about farmer herders. This is not about communal clash. It's about genocide. And the way the thoughtive talked, you know, it's a response to a statement given by the presidency before yesterday that, that suggested that that was the issue. Now, the way the thoughtive spoke and says, no, Your Excellency, it's not about this. And we know that you are capable. What do you make of those two speeches? The question of the president at that gathering to the IGP and the question by the monarch there, the thoughtive.
Thank you very much. You see, let me start from the IG itself.
The IG?
Yes. You see, the reality is that I have worked very closely with many police officers, senior police officers. Because when I observe excellent performance in senior police officer like CP, I move close to them. Assuming, you know that particular scenario exposed the leaderships and the Nigerian security. What that particular scenario defines is that the police failed. And the police failed. The failure was acknowledged by the police, number one. And the failure of the police was seen and interpreted by the number one citizens of this country. I don't know.
Absolutely. Go ahead, sir.
You see, when we make appointments based on friendships, you're a leader, you're making appointment based on friendship, based on likeness, based on the fact that when I send him an assignment, he's going to deliver without looking back. That is not leadership. You find people that are competent. Even people that when you send them certain assignment, they will look back. Okay, I cannot go for that assignment, even if you're going to sack them. You use people that are principled as presidents. Will you be securing Nigeria up and down? Let me not digress too far. You see, the reality is that before the attack, the Nigerian police failed. During the attack, the Nigerian police failed.
And after the
attack, the Nigerian police failed. You see,
and it's been series of attacks, not just this one.
Series of attacks now. Serious one. You see, that matter we're discussing is a very serious matter.
Absolutely.
It's a very serious matter. It's a serious matter to the extent that, you know, we will be in Nigeria and you will see a certain person going to UK, important places in UK, you know, making reports of what happened, of genocide, of massacre, unlawful killing that happened in Nigeria. In United Kingdom, and you ask yourself, what have we done here in Nigeria? And I want to say this, it's important I say it. Assuming before the attack, the number one man of the police, assuming the police failed before the attack, assuming the police failed during the attack, and the police now wake up immediately after the attack, President will not ask that question. I don't know. It's not necessary to advise Mr. President to do the needful.
All right. All right. Thank you, Chief Abdul Fatai. Coming back to you, Dr. Maha. Dr. Maha, interestingly, a couple of days ago, we had a conversation here talking about the strength and the capabilities of our security agencies, where you actually vouch for them, saying they are actually on top of their game, but their hands are tied, that they need legislative support. Interestingly, Dr. Maha, the Senate has come out to pledge legislative support for Nigeria's security architecture. And I'm going to take a look at a statement made here, speaking during a press conference on Tuesday at the National Assembly Conference in Abuja. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, said the upper chamber is appalled by the unending cycle of violence and grieving. According to him, he said, "We are tired of paying condolence visits. We are tired of mourning our people from Plateau today, Benue tomorrow, and Borno the day after." That's according to Senator Adaramodu. And also, he said, beyond the visit, according to him, the senator stressed that the upper chamber is taking broader steps to tackle insecurity, including renewed legislative support for the nation's security architecture and the push for a national security summit involving all critical stakeholders. So, Dr. Maha, here we have the Senate speaking here. They are saying they've woken up and they are going to give, they are pledging renewed legislative support for Nigeria's security architecture. As an expert, Dr. Maha, as a security expert, what do you expect to see going forward? If the Senate is saying they are pledging legislative support for Nigeria's security architecture, in what format would you like to see this happen?
Yes. We spoke about this 2 days ago. I'm going to reiterate it again. On the news this morning, what was they talking about? They were talking NMPC, how many trillion, how many misappropriated and all that one. We're not a serious nation. If we're a serious nation, the Senate should only discuss only one topic now, and that is security within the country. Nothing more, nothing less in all legislative arms of government. That's what they should be doing. Someone, everybody down, including Mr. President, everybody, what are we doing about the state of security in this country? If I were there, I would say, look, the Senate shouldn't sit again. Everybody go back to your state and solve your problems. I'll say that the legislative arm there, Benue State, what are they doing? They should pass laws. First law they should pass. Nobody should remain in the forest from 6 in the evening to 6 a.m. Office past there. You have to be there. Anybody seeing the forest should be shot on sight. They should give a mandate to the Commissioner of Police. You see, the question and the problems we are throwing on the shoulder of the IGP, that questioning should go to the CP Benue State. How come no arrests have been made? Your guest was talking about the area commanders, the DPOs on ground. Very, very true. There's a high next. What did the DPO there do in Kobe? In Goma, sorry. What did he do? What did the area commander do? Okay, with the Commissioner of Police hearing it, what has he done? These are the issues. Why no arrest so far? Must they wait till Mr. President comes down to Benue and be asking the IGP, where have we made the arrest? What's being done? The IGP is perplexed. His office is not in Benue. But this is the problem here. Now the problem is there is going to be delegation upwards. But when IGP gets back down to his office, he's going to summon all the AIGs and the commissioners of police now. But that doesn't solve the problem. Now, what we are now saying is giving room for state police. So every governor can have his own state police and rely upon them. Maybe that's what we're going to do. So, but the question here now is that what are the people of Benue and the likewise areas in the Middle Belt doing? They should come together and borrow a bit from the Western region and have their regional security, like Amatebu. If the individual state cannot carry the burden financially, they should come together. There's so much, and again, like I say, over time, we are playing politics with security. And it's a very dangerous game. The game of every government, local, state, and federal governance is the security of the people. Without the people, who are governing? And that's the thing. So please, we need to remove sentiments out of it, face realities, and get our game together. Our politicians should come together now than ever before and get the issue of security solved in this country. It is when they agree and pass an order by legislation that the armed forces security agencies can stand up and do their job. But again, too, the security agencies cannot do anything without funding, proper funding. You need vehicles, you need communication gadgets, you need satellites. So these are the things. You need arms, ammunition. Every day we hear 40 tanks have gone missing. Barracks have been invaded and destroyed, police stations and all that. What is being said at the end of the day? Who is caught? Who is brought to book? Nothing. It's like it's business as usual. So the earlier we get our act together as a nation, the better for us all. I think this is the time Mr. President can start a new lead concerning security and take this country forward.
All right. Now, I will come back to the chief in the studio here, but because I asked you a question about your take about what the Torty said, you know. But since we are with you now, Dr. Chukwuma, the legislative arm, you know, in that statement appear like they are serious. But the thing is, the feeling on the street, Nigerians don't really trust them that much, because they will say, must you wait? You know, did you have to wait at that time before you're talking? Because the old world is talking about it. Some individual self-claimed activists have gone to Benue, and then they said they were going to, at that same meeting where they talked about the legislative support and all of those things, they promised to be part of the contingent that will follow the president yesterday. And Nigerians are asking, must you wait at that time? Must you wait for the presidential entourage and visit and all of those things? But then you made mention of something in your submission earlier. You asked if Mr. President visited Yelwata, and till now we haven't seen that picture or the video or news that he visited. The only place he visited was a town hall meeting that he had, and of course the teaching hospital. Dr. Chuks, you are the expert. Did you see that as a missed, very great missed opportunity, because it will have afforded him to have a direct look at the state of the ruins and possibly hear from the people? Or you think that town hall meeting, you know, did the work?
Let me start this way. I said something, you cannot cry more than be bereaved. When Mr. President visited Benue State, what did the governor do? Mr. President has come to your state. You make the best use of it. He should have taken and insisted on Mr. President going to the scene of the crime by any means available, either by air or by road or by other anything you want to do, but get Mr. President there. Know his itinerary. Know how many hours he's going to spend in your state and make the best use of it. That's one. Secondly, you would have used your position to make certain demands from Mr. President. Either he wants to beef up, he wants a division of the Nigerian army to be created in Benue State, so they can create one day, since the chief of army staff was there and the defense chief was there. He could have made certain demands. He could have also made demands that, look, I want a situation where the chiefs there, security chiefs, report to me directly, that anything I ask for, they give it to me. These are the things you have made. But did he make all those demands? No. That's what I'm asking. Now, the question there is that, is it just the problem of the governor alone, or that of all the local community chairmen together? Were they opportune? By the time if they are all there and Mr. President can see the tears come out from their eyes, I think the president would have been more sympathetic to give them and grant them their request. But I don't think any request was made.
A request was made, Doctor. The governor was quoted to have asked for the establishment of special intervention fund for affected communities, you know, yesterday there.
That is, what does it mean by special intervention fund? What does it mean by that? Asking for money? What? We are talking of security, we are talking of special intervention fund to assist those that have been displaced. No. That shouldn't be the request. The request
we are due for a break, sir. But before we go on that, if you can do that in 15 seconds, do you think, because every answer has been pointing at the president, do you think Governor Alia has managed this situation well so far?
I will probably score him just a back. Because he's the chief security officer of the state. Everything is in his hands, and he ought to have known better and done better. It's not the first time they've been having issues in Benue before he became governor. So he should have known and put that in place before he campaigned to the governor. And he would have had a game plan that if this comes up, he knows what and what to do.
All right. Now, so much to really unpack and to talk about today, and we're going to broaden the conversation right now. It's about Benue. While the Benue is boiling at the present, I've visited, scores of people are still being killed. Tens of people are still being killed in Katsina. What do we do? Stay with us.